Hey guys, today we're going to be checking out more SolarLight. Today's video is called Cheating in TF2 Competitive Leagues. I cannot wait to watch this. I've really enjoyed everything we've watched about SolarLight. When I came across this video, it caught my eye, and I'm sure it's going to be just as great as everything else we've been watching. So thank you so much to everybody for liking and commenting and supporting the channel here. I really appreciate it. With that being said, this is your first time stopping by the channel. Do not forget to hit that sub button, please, and thank you. And let's go ahead and jump into it.
Yes, I did see the TF2 bot issue. They insta-lock to your head and send you straight to Jesus Christ.
It's become the most talked about thing since the Bible, honestly.
Dang. Luckily, at the moment, there doesn't seem to be, like, you know, bots or anything. At least from my experience the last couple weeks, I have not come across a bot, luckily. So let me know if you have by any chance, but for now, it looks like that part is gone.
Botting. We've all seen it. In most games, cheating is done by human players, but this isn't the case with TF2's hacking bots. They automate everything. Queuing for games, picking the sniper class, spamming the voice chat, using aimbot to send you straight to Jesus Christ. And these bots are run by degenerates who have more laptops than sense.
Dang.
But it's worth noting that these bots target the casual game mode, not competitive. But of course, nobody plays on Valve's matchmaking. What I'm really talking about are the third-party services and leagues.
I'm sorry, I'm not good. I apologize for ego. Please forgive me. I'm just European.
These matches are planned out in advance between specific groups of players and take place on private servers.
Okay, so it looks like the first part of this is just him talking about the bots, which, and like I said, I haven't had any issues with them, luckily. Luckily, Valve has fixed that for the time being. Not sure if they'll come back or not, but at least for the time being, they seem to be gone.
Everything. And when everything is moderated, obvious cheating just gets you banned instantly. To slip past detection, cheaters need to be subtle and try to appear as legitimate players, a practice that's often referred to as closet cheating. It sounds foolproof, but there's a very real risk of getting caught anyway. When playing in a league setting, players are required to record their matches. TF2 includes a built-in recorder, letting players create demo files. And if you're suspected of cheating, you'll need to hand over those files for inspection.
No, unacceptable.
I could continue on with the discussion about hacking, but I'm sure it's been talked to death by now. And I think people are starting to get tired of Valve's apathy towards the issue. Instead, I want to focus on something that's a bit more interesting.
Okay.
Rule breaking. If you're running a league, it's very important to have cohesive rules for players to follow.
Okay, this is more so what I thought the video was going to be like, is like, here's some rules, because it said competitive TF2 leagues. I was expecting like some more like cheating amongst the rules.
Quick disclaimer though, I won't be covering all of them. It's a big list of rules and I don't want to be here all day. So if you are looking to join a league, this video isn't a substitute for reading the rules. You should probably do that yourself. Okay, we good then? Let's talk exploits.
What? Okay, ban gameplay exploits, okay.
Normally, competitive servers run class limits. For example, in most competitive formats, teams are not allowed to have more than one demoman. But if 2 or more people respawn at the exact same time, whilst switching classes, they can respawn on their new class, bypassing the restriction. And since TF2 spawns players in groups, called respawn waves, this isn't really hard to accomplish.
Okay.
No, unacceptable.
If you use the retry command in the developer console, it will reconnect you to the server. This is useful if, say, your internet drops out while in the middle of a match and you need to rejoin. Using it for that purpose is totally fine, so what's the problem? Well, it ignores respawn times. If your respawn time is particularly long and your PC's loading times are quick, it can genuinely be faster to reconnect to the server.
Oh, I see.
Abusing this is banned. Here's an interesting one, the reverse quantum crouch. For a bit of backstory, there used to be a bug called the quantum crouch, but it was patched. This reverse variant requires a specific setup. While standing, use an explosion to shove yourself off the ground. Make sure you don't jump while doing this. Before you land, start holding the crouch button. You'll now be crouching, but other players will see you sliding around in a standing pose. But what they can't see are the hitboxes, which are still in the crouching position. This has a few weird results. Sentry guns will assume you're standing, but because you're already crouching, they just end up missing. Because of issues like this, any exploit that messes with players' animations or their hitboxes tends to be banned on principle.
And he said that this already got patched, correct? Because that is incredible. That's crazy, man.
A funny result of this is that the reference pose bugs are banned too, even though they're pretty harmless. You can't shoot your weapon while in a reference pose, so it doesn't really impact anything. But there is a variant of this bug that does allow you to shoot enemies. The contractor exploit.
Okay.
This item is so buggy that it kind of warrants its own video. But this isn't that video, so let's just focus on whatever the heck this is. Normally, opening the contractor menu just opens the menu. However, if you do have a contractor equipped in your action slot, your character will do a neat animation where they take it out and look at it. If you close the menu, another animation will happen where they put it away. It represents what you're doing in the game, which I think is pretty cool, but it's also really buggy. I mean, look, I'm just spamming F2, and I'm sliding around like mad.
Yeah, that's
I haven't even gotten to
crazy.
the actual glitch yet. In order to tell whether the menu is open or not, the game uses a console command. When the menu is open, the value is set to 1.
Okay.
And when the menu is closed, it's set to 0. Unfortunately, Valve forgot to prevent players from just changing the command at will. And since console commands can be bound to keys, we can make this process even easier. And this means I can access other menus while the contractor is active. For example, the loadout menu, where I can remove the contractor from its slot. And if I set the value to 0 after doing this, yep, that's the glitch.
Wow.
It offers a few distinct advantages. For example, pyro players will get pretty annoyed at the lack of reload animations. After all, a common tactic for reflecting projectiles at close range is to look at the enemy's reload animation, then reflect when the reload is finished. But if the player is sliding around with the contractor glitch, the reload animation is obscured,
Yeah, you
making
can't.
it very hard to
Yeah, I
tell
was saying
when
you
the
can't
shot is
tell.
coming. Okay, so the new update fixed the loadout switching exploit, so it's no longer possible to get stuck in the animation forever. But unfortunately, the other problems I mentioned still exist, and players are still
Really?
able to mess around with the console commands. Here's a few other things I haven't mentioned about the contractor. When the command is set to 1, you're not able to reload or fire your weapon. This doesn't have any real benefits when used with most weapons, but it greatly helps with the Beggar's Bazooka, an odd weapon that reloads before firing, as opposed to after. It can only hold 3 rockets at a time, and trying to load a 4th will result in an explosion. This means you can't hold all 3 rockets indefinitely, since stopping the reload will just result in the weapon firing. But if we use the iPad, you can't fire or reload the gun while it's active, letting you do this.
Bro, what is this absolute psychopath doing?
You can even do it while rocket jumping, letting you delay the barrage until you're right next to an enemy.
Wow.
While the Steam Deck is active, you can't walk. You also can't airstrafe. Strangest of all, Demo Knight's charges don't let you move at all, meaning the Nokia 3310 is responsible for plays like this. I wouldn't become too reliant on this though. They've already made patches to stop you from opening the menu while taunting, so they should also do the same for charging and for reloading, and for firing. Let's do a lightning round of banned exploits. Going out of bounds. Resupplying through walls or ceilings. Shooting or killing players during setup time. Taunt killing through walls. Shooting through this gap on Swiftwater. Spamming this console command to let you see cloaked spies.
See, this is cool. This is what I thought the video was gonna be when I seen the title, was like, what kind of exploits can you do that are banned in like a more of a competitive setting?
And I'm only just getting started.
Okay.
When it comes to TF2's classes, the developers made plenty of mistakes. I'd like to start with a big one. Okay, here's another one. Pyro's flames are dependent on velocity. In other words, if the pyro is moving quickly, the flames will move quickly too.
Ooh.
But in TF2 logic, velocity isn't the same thing as speed. It's possible for these two things to desync from each other. If a player gets stuck inside an object, they won't be able to move. They can still build up velocity by doing explosive jumps. Do this enough times and your velocity will start getting quite big, which means when you finally decide to fire your flamethrower, the flames will go very far, despite the pyro being locked in place.
Okay, that is sick, dude. That is insane. I see why that one is gone.
The Gistinator is a flamethrower with a special ability. fill up this meter, and you can activate critical hits. One of the things that balances this weapon out is the forced taunt that you do when you activate the crits. It basically warns the enemy team of what's to come. The game also gives you a bit of invincibility during the taunt, so that you don't die while using it. However, there are a few ways you can cancel the taunt early, which means you not only get to use the crits early, but the invulnerability effect remains.
Oh,
If you're still curious about this one, Lister has an entire video about it. There's a banned exploit where you can keep the thermal thruster's stomping ability even after switching to a different secondary weapon. You also keep the reduced fall damage. As engineer, you're not permitted to put any buildings in places where they can't be destroyed. The one exception is blue spawn on CP Steel, because this is an intended feature of the map. When it comes to sniper, crouching. Okay, I should be more specific.
Oh, okay.
If you crouch while scoped in, your view will go up and down in a straight line. Weird thing is, Sniper's crouching animation actually moves his head slightly to his right.
Oh, I see
In
that.
certain places, snipers can peek around corners while keeping their head safe behind a wall.
Oh.
This can be an issue in sniper duels for obvious reasons.
Get on the demo.
I really wish I weren't here right now.
ETF12 made the decision to ban this exploit, but
I mean, it
RGL
makes sense.
allows it. When asked about it, they stated that it would be a bit difficult to enforce, on top of not really being a big deal. I don't mean sniper, so I'm not going to interject with my own opinions here. But while we're on the topic of bugs that are allowed, I'd like to mention wall bugging, a technique where players can stick to certain walls. This is usually done by soldier players. If the enemy team isn't looking up, they can dive bomb onto the enemy medic.
Can you still do that?
So what makes one exploit okay, but the other not okay? Beats me, but I guess it just comes down to what people enjoy. People tend to hate the flog, let's be honest. Even a flog goblin like myself can understand that.
Dude.
TF2 has a rich modding history. Look at Game Banana for instance, and you can find a lot of interesting things. Whether that be new weapon models or new sounds. Some of these are pretty odd though. Like why? Why does this exist? Why do I want it?
Yeah, why is that there? If you use any kind of mods, just let me know. Let me know down in the comments if you use any.
Oh, fuck.
A console command known as svpure allows server owners to block certain mods. To keep things simple,
okay.
let's just say that a value
I was wondering how that was working. It's like, oh, you can apply mods, but it's like online. Usually, it's kind of difficult to do that depending on what you're doing.
2 blocks all mods, and that a value of 2 is a competitive standard. But if that's the case, how is every competitive player running around with a custom HUD?
Oh my god!
Oh yeah.
Wait, what is that crosshair? Anyway, the game makes an exception for custom HUDs.
Okay,
Players are
I see.
deliberately allowed to use custom HUDs in all servers.
And obviously, I don't use one right now. I'm just using the default. So if you use one, please let me know. I've seen a few people post in the TF2 loadout section in the Discord, like what their HUD looks like, and there's some really cool ones.
To achieve this, Valve whitelisted certain files from being modified by svpure, meaning you can modify them to your heart's content. There's just one problem. These folders don't just contain HUD stuff. There's a bunch of junk in here, like these files, which contain weapon data. I wonder what would happen if I messed around with, say, this one. Thankfully, weapon stats are server-sided, which means when you join a server that's not yours, you'll just be given a regular rocket launcher with default stats.
Okay.
But there are a few lines in this file which aren't stats, but are just cosmetic things, like explosion effects. So if I change this, I can customize the explosions however I want, and it'll be allowed in any server I join. These explosion mods are
Okay, that's neat. I'm not gonna lie, that's really cool.
actually pretty cool, and they're actually allowed in almost all competitive leagues.
Really?
They do technically give a visibility advantage since the default explosion smoke is pretty annoying, but I think people just really like the customizability and so it's been allowed. I've been using this orange flash in every single one of my videos. If you really want to give yourself an advantage, you should turn your attention to muzzle flash moss. You can get a bit creative when it comes to revealing players behind walls, such as by making a really big effect or just straight up using a wall hack here. I mean, look at this, it even persists through cloak.
Wow.
Spy just doesn't win.
Wow.
Stink lines, because he smells.
Yes, I see.
And don't worry, it gets worse. Look
What?
at these files. What do you think they're for? Sound data.
Oh.
Inside, we can find different parameters for volume, file path, and so on.
Oh no.
Oh.
Despite being well documented
Okay,
for
that
over
was
4
cool.
years,
That was
and
very
despite
cool.
league owners going out of their way to contact Valve about it, Valve just hasn't done anything. It's still in the game.
My favorite class is Dota 2.
And I haven't even scratched the surface when it comes to sketchy mods. For example, custom HUDs can be modified in a way to remove the sniper's scope, giving players more visibility. I will give credit
Wow.
though. Valve did try to fix this one, only for a workaround to be found 1 day later. This was 8 years ago,
Dang.
and Valve still ignores it to this day. Look at these box shadows. Achieved by
Oh.
editing the HUD to load a font that doesn't exist. Actually, that probably raised more questions than answers. Almost any model in the entire game can be removed via modding.
Unacceptable.
That said though, the no hats mod is allowed.
Acceptable.
And there are a few other mods that are considered fair game. There are a lot of
Okay.
things I've omitted for the sake of this video's pacing, but I think I've made my point. This game's a bit of a disaster. I mean, it's a lovable disaster, but still. Even if Gabe Newell, Thanos snapped all of the bots and hackers out of existence, there'd still be all these other ways you can cheat just by modifying the game, or doing a bunch of exploits. And I've not shared anything brand new or groundbreaking here. What I've done here is just read a bunch of Wikipedia articles and transform them into content. The fact that some of these exploits are nearly a decade old is just an embarrassment for Valve. But I suppose there's a bright side to everything. Valve has decided to accept community-created bug fixes on the workshop, which means if Valve isn't going to go out of their way to fix these decade-old bugs, maybe, just maybe, we can. Wait, none of them got added?
Wow. Wow. Oh, very cool. Okay, yeah, I think that is the end of it. Man, that
Special
was
thanks to
good.
Info, Eve Hawthorne, Fawcett of Drip, Hucario, It's Tuesday,
Oh, looks like there's a little more.
Yaroslav and Gluster, and Figod.
Or maybe not. I thought I seen right here in the preview there was something.
Dude, bro
Oh.
is playing pink team versus green team.
Yes, I
Okay, dude, that was awesome. Once again, that was by SolarLight, and I'll be sure to put the original video link down below. And that was just really fun, man. I really have enjoyed SolarLight's content so far. Just really, really awesome channel, and I hope you enjoyed this reaction. If you did, do not forget to hit that like button because it really, really helps out the channel here. And if there's anything else you want to see me react to, you're more than welcome to comment down below, and I'll be sure to put it on the list as always. So thank you so much for being here. We'll see you in the next video, and do not forget, it's Work Army for life.